So I set the camera up because I really want to get this on film. Gianni has no idea what I'm about to do. I just wanted to get a natural reaction to kind of see what people think of this and how they explain it. Gianni!
Yeah?
Can you come here real quick? Can you take a seat right here, but look that way? Yeah, don't look at me. Don't look at me. Don't look at me. There you go. Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, so I'm sitting here reading, and you know how we're talking about how the Jews don't believe that Jesus was the Messiah. They don't believe Jesus is God. They won't even take the New Testament seriously. They won't even read it. I'm going to read something, and I just want you to tell me if you think it is from the Old Testament or the New Testament. But he was wounded because of our sins, crushed because of our iniquities. He bore the chastisement that made us whole, and by his bruises we were healed. Like a sheep being led to the slaughter, by oppressive judgment he was taken away. For he was cut off from the land of the living, through the sin of my people who deserved the punishment. He was despised, a man of suffering, yet it was our sickness that he was bearing, our suffering that he endured. What do you think I'm reading from right now? The Old Testament or the New Testament?
Is that the New Testament?
Why do you think it's the New Testament? Here, go ahead and turn around. Why do you think it's the New Testament?
Well, I mean, Jewish people, they don't think that, like, the Old Testament talks about, like, Jesus Christ or, like, a figure that's like Jesus. And when you were reading it, the passage kind of reminded me of, like, the story of Jesus and how he died for our sins. So I would just assume based on that, that's the New Testament.
What if I told you it was the Old Testament?
Really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
I'm actually reading from the Tanakh. The Hebrew. This is the Hebrew Bible, the Tanakh. And this was the prophet Isaiah 53. I didn't read all of it. I skipped around. I read the parts that that stuck out to me when I was reading it myself. I was like, wait a minute. It sounds a lot like Jesus and what Jesus went through. Now, this is a prophecy of the Messiah by the prophet Isaiah, and this was over 700 years before Christ ever came as a God-man, right? And then, fast forward, and Christ actually went through everything this prophecy is saying. And you, O Bethlehem of Ephrath, least among the clans of Judah, from you one shall come forth to rule Israel for me. Now, again, it's a messianic prophecy talking about the coming Messiah and saying he will come from Bethlehem, right? Daniel 9:24-27. 70 weeks have been decreed for your people in your holy city, until the measure of transgression is filled and that of sin complete, until iniquity is expiated and eternal righteousness ushered in, and prophetic vision ratified, and the Holy of Holies anointed. And after those 62 weeks, the anointed one will disappear and vanish. The army of a leader who is to come will destroy the city and the sanctuary, but its end will come through a flood. Desolation is decreed until the end of war. During 1 week he will make a firm covenant with many. For half a week he will put a stop to the sacrifice of meal offering at the corner of the altar. Will be an appalling abomination until the decreed destruction will be poured down upon the appalling thing. So in here it's saying the Messiah is supposed to come. He's supposed to be cut off, and he's supposed to be an atonement before the second siege of Jerusalem, which was in 70 AD. Right, when the Romans sacked Jerusalem. Jesus said this would happen, and here Daniel is saying this is going to happen, and then Jesus fulfilled it. So it's another prophecy fulfilled by Jesus. All right, this is Isaiah 9. Isaiah 9:6. For a child has been born to us, a son has been given us, and authority has settled on his shoulders. He has been named the Mighty God, in Hebrew, El Gabor. The mighty God is planning grace, the eternal Father, a peaceable ruler, in token of abundant authority and of peace without limit upon David's throne and kingdom, that it may be firmly established in justice and equity, now and evermore. The zeal of the Lord of hosts shall bring this to pass. It's another prophecy. Again, who does that sound like?
Jesus.
Jesus, right? Let's see if Vinny can figure this out. Vinny!
Yeah?
Come here.
Hi.
Hey, buddy.
Hi.
I'm going to read something. I want you to tell me who you think it's talking about, okay?
Okay.
For a child has been born to us, a son has been given us, and authority has settled on his shoulders. He has been named the Mighty God, is planning grace, the Eternal Father, a peaceable ruler. So it's a prophetic, messianic prophecy. It's talking about somebody who's going to be born, who is going to be called God, and who's going to bring this kingdom to pass, the justice. And who does this sound like?
Jesus.
Who?
Jesus Christ.
Do you think this is the New Testament or the Old Testament?
Old.
Old? Okay. That's right. Yeah. So, did you know God has a son who is called God, and this prophecy in Isaiah was made 700 years before Jesus was ever born?
Pretty cool.
Pretty cool, right? So, you know the Jews don't think that this is talking about Jesus?
Why?
That's what we're going to try to figure out. But yeah, you got it, man. You got it. Awesome. Good job, bud.
Who do they think they're talking about?
I don't know. We should ask. Alrighty. Thanks, baby.
Welcome.
I love you.
Love you.
Even Vinny knew that. Anybody reading this would say the same thing. And even he said, why? Like, why, you know? It's a good question. I have to ask, how do you read this and not think Jesus? After historically, everything that's being prophesied here has come into fulfillment from Christ. So we really have to maybe ask a couple people why they don't. What do you think?
Yeah.
All right. Hey, Gianni, come check this out. Read Isaiah 49. Just, not the whole thing. Just read that paragraph real quick. I want to see something.
For he has said, "It is too little that you should be my servant, and that I raise up the tribes of Jacob, and restore the survivors of Israel. I will also make you a light of nations, that my salvation may reach the ends of the earth."
Okay, so it's talking about how the Messiah will be a light to all the nations, right?
Right.
But yet, there are billions of people, I think, from all nations who worship the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the Jewish God, because of Jesus. Most of the people in the world who are Christians believe in the Jewish God, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, because of Christ, because of Jesus. So I went to the Pew Research Center, and I just wanted to see the future of world religions, population growth projections, 2010 to 2050, size and projected growth in major religious groups. 2010 population, Christians, look at that, 2,168,330,000. 31.4% of the world population are Christians. Jews, 13,860,000. They only make up 0.2% of the world population. That's interesting, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that makes sense when you read Isaiah 49, and it's talking about how the Messiah will be the light to all the nations. Has that not happened already? We have billions of people who believe in the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob because of Jesus. And yet they still deny that he's the Messiah.
It's a little weird.
We got to dig in more. But I thought that would be interesting to look at.